All right. Hello, everyone. Thanks. Oh, wait, I'm not supposed to move around. Okay. Yeah. Thanks. Thanks for coming. My name is Mike. I'm the founder and CEO of ether.fi. Maybe just as a quick show of hands for context for me, how many people know what ether.fi is? Oh, wow. Cool. That's great. How many people have actually used it, staking or otherwise? Nice. Awesome. Well, thanks, guys. Okay, so I'll talk more about ether.fi, but what I wanted to talk about is really about the scale of the opportunity to build real products, consumer apps for people, rather than focusing on kind of all the gambly stuff that most of crypto and DeFi is focused on today. So I'll start off with a question, which is, if you look at the revenue generated by some of the largest DeFi protocols out there, ballpark, how much revenue do you think all of DeFi generates? So think of a number in your own mind. Yeah, maybe net of emissions, it's probably negative. If you look at the top protocols, and this is a selection, if you sort DeFi Llama by TVL, give or take, these are the ballpark numbers. I think that maybe it's higher these days because token prices have gone up a little bit. But you have Aave that generates 60 to 100 million in revenue per year, again depending on token prices. Lido does about 50 to 70 million, again depending on price of ETH. Maker or Sky, I think at their peak they were doing close to 500 million in revenue. These days, I think that number is ballpark approximately right. And then ether.fi, we did about 26 million last year. This year, we'll probably do around maybe 50 to 70. So these are, on the one hand, you can look at that and say, like, these are pretty good numbers. And most of these protocols are actually profitable. Generate revenue. So that, you take a step back and think, okay, that's impressive. Maybe if you add all of DeFi, maybe if you're super generous and you classify Pump Fund as DeFi, and you add all of it up, maybe it's about $1 billion a year in revenue, give or take. Again, that sounds impressive. So keep that number in mind. And here's Zendesk, completely random, very boring company. Most of you probably don't even know what it is. It's a random help desk company, one of hundreds of help desk companies out there. They do about $1.5 billion in revenue. There's literally thousands, probably tens of thousands of companies just like it. So after 10 years in DeFi, all of DeFi generates less revenue than one random help desk company from the early 2000s. So on the one hand, you can look at that and say, well, there's maybe that means DeFi is not that impressive. But I think really what this shows is there's an opportunity here, a huge opportunity to actually generate, to build products that touch a lot more people and generate substantially more revenue, and get probably to 1,000x of the size that we're at today. So to use the old cliche, we're early. We're still, believe it or not, super early. But what we need to do is to stop with the gambling bullshit. Casinos are a big business, but if you look at casinos as a part of the global economy, it's a rounding error, right? Like I don't even know if it's 1% of. It's probably significantly less than 1% of the global economy. So the opportunity to build products for real people, real services that they actually use, is massive. I mean, there's 1,000x of growth left to go here. So that's in a very high level sense, that's one of the things that we're focused on at ether.fi. One is obviously creating a great protocol that has users and generates lots of revenue, but also as a demonstration that it's possible to build real projects that are sustainable, that actually survive by providing real services to users, rather than just the usual sort of Ponzi-nomic type of recycling. And so the market that ether.fi is focused on, I guess for those of you that aren't familiar with ether.fi, what we're focused on building is what we call a DeFi bank, which is to say basically an end-to-end alternative to traditional banking. So if you imagine as a user, if you've used Revolut or Nubank or Chime or any of the the neobanks that are out there, and then you download the ether.fi app, it starts to look very similar. That's the direction that we're going in. Basically, everything that you get from your traditional banking service, but all fully self-custodial, integrated into DeFi, and of course much lower fees and higher rewards because it's plugged into this this ecosystem. So that's what we're building. We've got a number of products that I'll briefly talk about, but that's the long-term vision, is to disintermediate and swap out the traditional banks. And so how big a market is that? Well, today, or I should say last year, the neobanking space, so that's just the neobanks like Revolut, Chime, Nubank, et cetera, that market size was about 150 billion. So give or take 150 times larger than all of DeFi. And that market is growing super fast. It's adding 50 times DeFi every year at its current rate of growth. The opportunity here, again, is substantial by focusing on real users. And I wish I actually had some slides from our cash product launch recently, because what it demonstrates is that we actually do have a good shot at taking a big slice of this market. Because what we put together is this suite of 3 products. Most of you, if you learned about ether.fi in the early days, probably know about our first product, which was ether.fi Stake. So that was our staking, liquid staking product that had restaking baked into it. It lets you stake, now it's ETH, BTC, and now USD. We have our liquid product, which is a series of DeFi strategy vaults that deploy assets into DeFi and kind of put it on autopilot. So instead of you having to micromanage your DeFi positions and kind of wire up your own financial derivatives, you can click one button in the app and deploy it and get a nice risk managed DeFi position. And then finally, ether.fi Cash, which is a non-custodial wallet, vault, and a credit card attached that lets you either spend your crypto or actually borrow against your DeFi positions and vaults. And so pulling it all together, what it's meant to do is the 3 core services that most people get from their traditional banks, which is to be able to save your money, to be able to invest your money, and then to be able to spend and borrow. And we've had pretty good growth. This is an old slide. We're actually at around 7 billion in deposits and continuing to grow. Our staking assets are, I think it's probably fair to say, the most widely integrated in DeFi. Probably around 500 different DeFi integrations at this point. We're either the number 2 or 3 asset on Aave. Again, depending on the day. Very widely integrated. So it's been great. And again, I think that focus on providing like core user utility has paid off. And arguably as importantly, we actually generate revenue. So last year, this is our quarterly revenue numbers. We did about 26 million in revenue profitably. So we actually generated net income on this stuff, and that includes actually token buybacks that are incorporated in the protocol. So net of token buybacks, net of emissions, net of everything, we actually generated revenue. And this year, I think conservatively, we'll do at least 50 million, probably closer to 60 or 70. Obviously, highly correlated to the price of ETH these days, and substantial fees. So we drive roughly 200 million or more in fees through the platform. So lots of room for margin expansion there. So that's my call to action. I'm sure many or most of you guys are builders. My call to action is build products for real people. Forget about the Ponzinomics stuff. The opportunity is 1,000 times larger to actually build stuff that matters. Great. I think we have some time for Q&A. So if you have any questions or you want to heckle or whatever, go for it.
Yeah, I have a question about the cash product. You said it's like a credit card that you can use your crypto with. Is there any kind of a tool? Because in some jurisdictions, including in the US, anytime you use crypto to buy something, that's a taxable event and you have to pay capital gains on it. So does that include a tool for you to generate a report that you can send to the IRS?
Yeah, so there is reporting, but for people that are concerned about that, and I guess I'll say two things. One, I'm definitely not a tax lawyer, so I don't listen to anything I say as advice. And every jurisdiction is different. So my understanding is in the U.S. you're okay to borrow against your crypto assets. That's not a taxable event. In Australia, for example, it is a taxable event. So every jurisdiction is different. But in the U.S., you can borrow against your ETH or BTC and spend that, and you're not realizing the gain on those assets. So with the Cash Card, you can do that, and that's for a lot of users, that is the benefit, is they just deposit their staked assets, in the vault, and then just spend and kind of go about their life.
So you're actually, so like if I put USDC, like if I supply, then I can borrow something else against that, USDT or something, and I can spend that, and it's not a taxable event because I've borrowed it, is it?
Yeah, so if you deposit ETH, or for example, if you deposit into the liquid strategy vaults, like the USD vault, I think is doing about 10%. So if you deposit a bunch of 10% APR, if you deposit a bunch of USD into that vault, that can continue yielding, and then you're spending and you're not realizing that tax. Or if you deposit ETH or BTC, then you can spend against that. Obviously, I mean, liquidation risk, don't leverage, etc. Lots of all the caveats. Any feedback for any card users? What do you love or hate about it? When more countries? Which countries?
Dubai.
We support Dubai. Yeah. I don't know about Lithuania. Do we not support Lithuania? No. I would have thought. Soon, actually. I mean, I guess the answer is actually soon. We're about to onboard a BIN sponsor that will allow us to issue euro-based cards, and then I think we actually have pretty much full coverage of Europe. So that should be conservatively 2 months away.
I had a question just on like the roadmap. There are obviously a lot of cards. It seems to be quite a big thing going out at the moment with MetaMask and Argent and all these different sort of providers. What is like the next step for you guys, and what do you think the winning card is gonna get first?
Yeah, that's a great question. I mean, I would actually say that it's not going to be a winning card. Like in the same way that staking is a standalone product that's just not very interesting. I mean, there's probably 20 different staking solutions out there. Probably hundreds if you include the various node operators that you can stake with. So staking, for example, in and of itself, is just not that interesting. In the same way, a credit card, I mean, most crypto cards are terrible if you've ever used them. But that's not even the point. Even if you make a great crypto card, in and of itself, that's just not that, excuse me, not that interesting. I think the real value of our platform is the integration. So specifically, you can stake your asset, you can on-ramp with fiat, buy some ETH, stake your assets, put it into DeFi, and then use a card to actually borrow against it or spend it. As well as all the other nice features around that. So the real value of ether.fi is the vertical integration of the entire product suite, not like any one product. That's I think one of the really I want to say surprising, but in some ways it's not surprising. One of the quirky and somewhat surprising things about DeFi is that the way it's evolved is, you have thousands and thousands of different protocols, and all of them do, one very narrow thing. And that's been kind of the template, right? There's like the CDP protocol, there's the DEX, and there's lending, and, derivatives, interest rate swaps, perps, etc. And the reason that maybe one could say it's not that surprising is because that's the right structure for power users. When you have a very small number of very sophisticated users that love playing with these financial Legos and, wiring up their own financial derivatives, right? Because that's what you're doing. Like if you put money into Athena and then put that into Pendo and then you put that into Aave, I mean, you're literally wiring up your own derivatives. And that is not something that, and I'm probably being conservative here, 99% of people want to do. Most people will destroy themselves immediately if they try to do that. And most people don't even want. I mean, I'm a power user, and I don't really want to do that, full time. I'd rather put that on autopilot. So naturally, just as we saw, I guess, in the when computers first became popular, people, the early adopters loved to build their own machines and buy the CPU and the motherboard and the video card and your own case, and you'd assemble it, and that was super fun. But 99% of people aren't going to do that. So as that market matured, more comprehensive kind of integrated products started to become more popular. And I think we're going to see that in DeFi. We already see that in CeFi, right? Exchanges are kind of starting to play this role. I don't really think that, exchanges are basically casinos. I don't know that people are going to go to the casino in order to all right, I want all my banking services to come from this. But we certainly see that vertical integration taking place with exchanges. And I think we're going to see much more of that in DeFi. I mean, there's a few examples of that, and that's directionally what broad consumer adoption is gonna look like is these integrated services. Okay, well, no more questions. Thanks, everybody. Yeah, hopefully this was interesting, and check it out at ether.fi.